really enjoyed that, but we must move swiftly on to this Kevin Whelan, who will absolutely blow your mind with this presentation. So if you think you've had it good so far, it is about to go up a notch as well. So, with no waiting around, Kevin Whelan, welcome you.
First of all, that was a great presentation, isn't it?
Yes.
Great venue, great presentation, great offer. As someone who's used that very strategy to build business around books, I can heartily endorse it and say it will undoubtedly work for many of you. So I would encourage you to take up his offer, even though I have no connection and we met it for the first time tonight. But actually, here's a quote from the book. So you can, he asked you the question about, are you a smart audience or not? Here's a good question for you. By the way, I'm just feeling a little under the weather. In case my voice goes, I'll do my best to hang on. To save time, I don't have an offer to make at the end. There are no forms to fill in. I'm here purely because I have a lot of respect for Chris. Okay? And he's asked me to share with you some of the wisdom I've imparted to him, to show him how to get out of the rat race bloody quick. Now, it took me 15 years to do it, but I can definitely... A year is tough, okay? It's a great objective, but I think most people could do it in definitely a fraction of the time that it took you. But you have to really commit to it. So here's the quote from the book. Who can tell me the book? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Here's the Dickens one. Tale of Two Cities, right, and what's the rest of the quote? It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. And I think it pretty much says everything about today's time. So, like the gentleman before me said, it's always middle-aged bald men who come and talk. Partly that because we have the right to have some wisdom. We're follically challenged because our brains are so powerful. But in addition to that, I suppose we command a little bit of respect because we've done it. So this isn't false stuff. I don't have anything to offer you. So I don't have anything other than to try and impart some wisdom. And the wisdom I think it would be great to start with is I've got some good news for you guys, and I've got some real bad news. So what news do you want first? Bad news. You are going to be the poorest generation virtually since the capitalist society was created. The poorest society in history. You're going to be worse off than your parents. Why? Come on, I'm not presenting to you, I'm getting you to think.
No final salary pension.
No final salary pensions is one. They're gone.
More people.
Say again?
More people.
Yeah, an aging population. What else is happening?
Debts.
Debts. When I wrote my first book, which I think Chris will give you a copy of for free, the interest rates were around about 3-4%. People were borrowing money, but I never heard of Wonka.com. 1,988% APR? I mean, come on. I went to university, I have a degree in economics, that was in 1978. I didn't pay anything for that. I got a free education. My kids are having to pay for it. So kids are coming out of university saddled with debt.
Yeah.
And if you're saddled with debt, it's harder to break completely free out of the rat race. Because you have to join the rat race to service the debt. Now this isn't going to be published anywhere else, I hope, right? So if I'm allowed to, great, then I'm going to swear it. Okay? Because stuff pisses me off. And I get on my soapbox a lot because things piss me off a lot. And some of you will piss me off. Right? Because maybe you're coming to the seminar, as you said earlier on, and maybe there's some inaction. Maybe there's a little bit of comfort zone stuff going on. So I want to break you out of the comfort zone by teaching you everything you need to know without focusing on one thing. That allows you to be empowered to do what you want to do. Now, unfortunately, Chris hasn't given me a clicker, so I'm going to have to go back to the thing. Anyway, the good news. Nobody asked me for the good news. What's the good news?
The good news.
There's a way out.
There's definitely a way out. And you're going to get, without doubt, as an economist, I love formulas, right? I'm going to give you, only if I hear enthusiasm back. I like that. I like some of his presentation. I'm going to teach you the formula for complete financial freedom, but only if you ask for it enthusiastically.
Yes.
Actually, that gives me space to go back. The reason you're spending your time here tonight isn't because there's nothing good on the telly. Yeah, there's football on tonight. I'm missing some football. My team's playing tonight. But this is what's driving you, right?
Yeah.
It's not about one thing. It's not about writing a book. It's not about being a property expert. It's not about building a pension pot. It's creating financial freedom. But in fact, I'd like to share with you there are 4 freedoms that are absolutely critical to think about when you use the word financial freedom in your vocabulary. And it might be helpful for you to think about these or even note them if it's worthwhile. The first one, what does financial freedom mean to you? It means something different to each and every one of you here. It doesn't mean the same thing. So let's try and get it out. Reece, what does it mean to you?
To be able to focus on other things that I'm passionate about.
So, in other words, to live his passion. He wants to live his passion. More of that in a moment. Remus?
Time freedom.
Well, that's another freedom, which is great. So the freedom to do what you want when you want.
Yeah.
So if you want to come here, you come here. Nobody forced you here, right? Nobody forced me here, right? So, any others?
Generating income without working.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Generating income without needing to work for it. I like the sound of that. That's great. We're going to come on to that. The second freedom is time freedom, Remus. So you can do what you want when you want. You are beholden to no one. Third freedom. I love this one. Relationship freedom.
Yeah.
So these people in the room tonight, I look around, I see some smiley faces. Right? I can see other places where people aren't smiling so much. So, in other words, when you go to your work, some of you said you had a job, right? So let's see the job owners. A few of you, right? Okay. Do you love to work with everybody in that organization?
No.
Who said yes? Right. So the environment, well, you love everyone. Fantastic. It sounds like a great company. Brilliant. That's absolutely great. But it's rare. Because the environment is provided for you, the people are provided for you, and sometimes you don't need or want to get on with everyone or even turn up there. I know some guy who commutes 4 hours a day. I mean, 4 hours and not even getting paid for it? Crumbs. That was the third freedom, relationship freedom. You can choose who you want to work with. You choose who you want to be in business with. You choose who you want to speak on behalf of. You enjoy doing that. And the fourth freedom, Reece, is the freedom of purpose. So your passion becomes real. You choose what you want to do, and you choose the purpose why. And I believe there's genius in everyone, and everyone has got a passion that's busting to get out, but it's hard to get out because the rat race keeps you in a vortex that just keeps spinning. And how the hell do you get out of it when you've got bills to pay? Number 2, so we've got financial freedom, money freedom, time freedom, relationship freedom, and purpose freedom. So getting to your true purpose is what will make the difference between coming out of your comfort zone or not. What's the shortest space? What's the shortest distance between 2 points? Right. Straight line. So if you want to get from where you are now when you're not financially free, I guess, otherwise you're either speaking or wanting to maybe come and speak, but you want to be financially free, the journey is a straight line. And it's important then to connect with people who are on the same journey as you so they can support you along it. And a few people who are slightly ahead of you who can say, I've been there before, it's not that difficult. So I'm a bridge builder. I help people across the bridge. I'm helping Chris. And this is my favourite bridge. Anyone recognise it? It's the Tyne Bridge, way I'm at. So my accent, he was a Canadian, right? So you can tell a Canadian. It's difficult to tell a Geordie, right? My team's playing tonight, and I think they'll be probably hammered by Manchester United. But that's where I'm from, so if you're trying to work out the accent, that's where that's from. But anyway, let's get into it. I need to establish a little bit of credibility, but I'm not going to tell you much. What you need to see is there. I currently generate about 50,000 a month, automatically, Annie, without having to work. And I choose to share as much of that with you guys, so not the money, but certainly how to, okay? So this is about the how. I'm going to show you how. And I'm going to tell you why I thought of the concept and how you can copy it for yourself. And that's a good enough income to live on, and it's building every month. But the purpose isn't that. If we get time, I'll go over my purpose, but it's just a little bit of credibility, because otherwise, why am I here? Why are you spending time with me? So I look after about 100 million of other people's money, which is kind of nice, which means they trust me. And we've done about 40 million worth of joint ventures. In other words, connecting. Don't go too far, Chris. Connecting, right? So we help people create wealth together. And this is what this kind of community is all about. See, who's ever heard of the phrase, self-made millionaire? Yeah? I think that's not relevant anymore. Why do it yourself? Why do it in 15 years if you can do it in 5? By collaborating with other people. That's what it's about. So if you collaborate and allow other people into your life and you become part of theirs too, you can get there a lot more quickly. And this is what WealthBuilders as a business is all about. It's about helping people on the journey behind you, on the journey ahead of you, and those people in the same pace to keep everybody going. Okay. And I'm always looking, by the way, for stars, more of that later. In a sea of mediocrity, do you remember the slide he had with the white and the red? Yeah? The marketing thing is a good slide. But I see everywhere mediocre things. And mediocrity pisses me off. I hate mediocrity. I hate it. I'd rather it was absolutely crap. I just cannot stand mediocrity. Excellence. Outstanding. Stand out. Stars. And I'll tell you what a star looks like later. Because if you're going to write a book, actually it will help you frame what the book will be about. Because it's an acronym. STARS, and I'll cover that in a little while. So I'm looking all the time, Chris, aren't I, for the stars. Where's the secret, Chris, in the stars?
There's the secret.
It's always in the eyes now, isn't it? So I'm looking into those eyes. Yeah, there's a few. One or two. Okay. One thing to get across loud and clear from me is the thing that puts money into your bank account every month when you're building wealth is relationships. If you're in business, you're creating a solution to people's problems. If you're renting property, you're finding tenants who are real people looking to see them as relationships, not as just plain customers. And I think relationships are the most important thing, which is why I'm so passionate about it. So that's why I love coming to things like this, to create new ones and build ones that have already started. And I always like to recognize stars that I've met, and I do want to recognize one tonight, and that's Chris. Because Chris has organized this, and I'm absolutely stunned that in the shortest space of time, if he'd said to me, or I'd said to him, like that question, you're a jerk, you know what? If I'd said, Chris, you're going to have 50 people coming to an event that you've engendered all of that trust from a standing start, he would have laughed in my face. Now he's done it. And he's not claiming any credit for what you guys do, but he's just creating an environment, and I think it's outstanding. So, if I'm drinking with friends, and I do like a drink, my favourite wine is Sancerre, and I brought a bottle from my own personal collection for you. It's not champagne, because you've had one of those before. So if I may give that to you.
Oh, of course, thank you.
And if you could give him a round of applause. Okay. the starting point of a star, and if you want to create a book around a business or a business around a book, you have to be a star. And the starting point is research to come up with a purpose and find a good reason why. So I thought it would be helpful to at least give you a moment on my reason why. So the year is, it's going to be a short story, but it's 1985, and at that point I'm 25. So you worked out I'm 55, right? And my father dies of a heart attack on a North Sea oil rig. They can't fly him off. He collapses and dies. Tragic for me. However, I'm a young economist trying to make a life, got a good income, very smart guy, get a good salary. I fall in love at age 28, decide to get married, and what am I thinking at the point I start to plan? Who's going to help me here? Laura. What am I thinking? I look the same as my dad, I talk the same, we walk and talk, everything's the same. We look like the same people. What am I thinking? My time is going to come, and it's not going to be long. So at that point, I decide, no longer will I trade time for money. No, can't be done. Because if I do that, what's going to happen to me if I go early is no more money. Annie, no more money. So I decided to build things, and I create in my mind as an economist, what do you own that you can build that creates money, that keeps putting that money into your bank account while you are asleep, that you can pass on to your family? And I came up with an idea. I'm going to share that idea with you. And I'm in the right room. So I'm sitting down working my desk. And Karen, there's some good stuff for you, because I know you've seen this before. I've got some stuff for you, so don't worry about it. Keep smiling at me. You've seen the joke. But what is the formula? And I wrote it down, and I think it's a great formula. I said I'd give you the formula, Laura. That's the formula. But in reality, the formula is hidden in there, and it's not that complicated. So how do you feel about seeing the simple one? Anyone up for that? Okay. Okay.
Something we can
Okay. Well, most of you went for your chin, didn't you?
Yes.
Right. Now, come on, you can translate this one. It's not that complicated. You don't have to be a mathematician. You don't have to be an economist or an actuary. You can work this out for yourself. What does it mean? It's not quite spend less than you earn, but it's, I get the point. Who can help me out? What does the AI mean? AI, not alternative intelligence.
Income.
Asset income. Okay, so when asset income is greater than or equal to the expenses of the life you need or the life you want to lead, it's just as important, then you're a happy person. You are completely financially free. Now, there are two types of income. It's important to get the distinction right. Asset income and work income. They sound the same, or they sound different rather, and also they, for those of you who think in different ways, they look very different. How do they sound? So those of you who've got a job, you work, get paid? Do that consecutively, same thing. Asset income, work, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid. Who feels like asset income would be a better thing to go for?
Yes.
The other thing about work income is it stops when you stop. You know, so if you want to think about it, in terms of what it looks like, think about an up escalator and a down escalator. So if you're on a down escalator, which you probably did when you were a kid, right? It's going down and you're running up. How does it feel? Yes, tiring is hard work being poor, you know. But when you stop the income, what happens? You go all the way back down to the bottom again. Great. What's it like on the up escalator?
Nice.
Stand on the right. Just keeps going. And that's how to get the visual of it, because this is serious stuff. I know I'm making a little joke of it to be slightly entertaining, but there's a fundamental difference for those of you who haven't got it. You might have read it, and you intellectualized it. The brain says, yes, I get it, Kevin, but what have you done about it? How much of your time is spent building assets as opposed to trading time for money? Okay. Cover that. Simple formula anyway. So here's a definition of an asset, and then we'll go into a little exercise to work out how many there are and what they are, and then I'll share some more practical things with you on what you can actually do. Okay, so you can read that for yourself. I've already said it puts money in your bank account. Not me. You can pass the money on, so I've got 3 kids, 23, 20, 17, 2 years apart. I don't know why, let's have one. Doesn't end because you're not there. Okay. So if you can, so in some ways, one of the ways it might be useful again to try, because everyone takes in information different ways. I try and visualize when I'm spending time building assets, I'm the owner of a company. And I'm the MD of that company, and that company is to write a paycheck for life for me, my wife, my kids, and the good causes that I care about. And I call that company internally infinity, meaning it money just keeps going, it doesn't stop. Think about creating in your own mind a company, a virtual one, not a real one, and call it something. Give it a logo, give it a colour, give it something that you can think. I've got my job and I'm working 5 days or 4 days. And on the 5th day, I've got my company and I'm building my wealth. Because there has to be some time changes in order to create wealth. It doesn't happen in the 40 hours that you are spending at work. However nice the environment, Erica, it doesn't happen there. It happens outside of that. So you have to create time leverage outside of that. And we'll hopefully touch on that. You're doing it now by coming here tonight. Okay. Now, here's the fun bit. Wealth is a science. It can be learned, and it is not complicated. There are only 7 assets in life. There are not more. We don't need to get into an intellectual debate. If you can master 7, you will be financially free for the rest of your life. What we need is a bit of help. Try and get the 7 out. Because if you can wrestle with it and get them, then I can show you how to make it work, how to get them for yourself. So Fabio, help me out. Chris, you want to help? We have 7. I want you to name something, sir, that puts money in your bank account while you're asleep. You don't have to be there. It just does it. And I'm going to help Chris put them in an order that you can follow. We'll go with a specific order, 1 to 7. Fabio?
Property.
Property, okay. So we're talking about the property you live in that you could rent out, or a portfolio of property that generates rental income. Okay, that's number 4, Chris. We don't have a badge on. Okay. All right, okay. Right, okay. Help me out. Badge somewhere, that's fine.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Shares, I'm going to call shares an investment, if that's okay. So we don't need to get too worried, just need to, it's in a marketplace of something which has something that you simply can't control. Okay, so that's number 3. Let's call it investment. Right?
A business that generates cash.
Like that. Okay, so we'll have a business, Chris, number 5. My definition of a business, a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you being there.
That's what I mean.
Okay? Remus.
Intellectual property.
What a start. You're all going to write books, right? And what is the definition of IP?
Record of books.
Right.
Get royalties.
Okay, now here's the point. I think the last speaker was really excellent because he actually positioned the book thing really well for me. It was, You're not going to be J.K. Rowling, probably. Right? You're probably not going to be Paul McCartney. You're probably not going to be the Queen. Getting royalty sounds really nice. But you do have intellectual property. Every single person in this room, as long as they're awake and alive, have got intellectual property. Because if you've got a job, you're trading the IP for an hourly rate. Here's how to calculate it. Pick a salary for me, Reese. 100,000 a year. £50 an hour is what you're trading your IP for. Because most people work 2,000 hours, roughly. Divided by 2. 50,000, £25 an hour. 200,000, £100 an hour. I don't care how much you earn. If you're trading time for money, it's an hourly rate. And there are only so many hours you can give away. But if you can turn that IP, something you've got, use some of the Jerry stuff, and turn it into something that has some value, and don't underestimate the value, you'll create money from that. Not by selling it, but by harnessing some of the other assets around that. Is this making sense to anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a book in everyone, and it'd be great to see everybody with a book, wouldn't it? And it doesn't have to be a long book.
IP.
IP. Number 6. Thomas.
Well, I would say property, but
I'll give you one. Well, so put the property you live in, which you could rent out if you were really stuck. Okay, so put home equity there, Chris, number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
What?
What is it?
It's your home. You could live in your own home, or you could rent it out. I've got a client of mine who was an older lady, didn't have enough income, didn't have enough opportunity to create other assets, so she built an annex near Heathrow Airport, rented to pilots. Yeah, you get that. I mean, nothing to do with the rent, right? It's all to do with the guys. But you have to make use of your assets. So for her, a house that could be used to create income, why not? If you need to. Most people actually use their house as an asset at some point. When? When do they do it? When they downsize. And most people will hugely overestimate the value of downsize. Okay? So should we have a go at downsizing? Okay. Give me a property value that's reasonable.
400,000.
Okay, 400,000. So I live in a £400,000 house. I leave all my planning for wealth too late, and I downsize. What do I buy?
Bungalow.
2-bedroom flat? Yeah. How much am I going to pay for that? 250. Okay. So I bank 150. Forget the cost and stuff, right? 150. And I'm nervous, and I'm cautious because I haven't built anything. Where do I put my money? In the bank. What do I get on the bank? 1%. How much do I get for my 150,000? 1%. 1,500 a year. Yeah, 100 a month. Huh? You can't downsize your way, but most people do. And you guys are going to find it tougher because you're going to be more in debt than any other generation in the past. So debt management is a key skill. Okay, and we have 2 more. What do most people in the UK and America rely on for their retirement?
Pension.
Pensions is number 2. And probably the most overlooked, other than IP, asset in the whole of the UK certainly is pensions. Most people haven't got a clue what's going on in that box they call pension. Not a clue. And we've made a whole business on helping people unlock the value in that pension and turn it into property, and turn it into business, and turn it into IP, and turn it into number 7, which is, if you don't, remember I said to you, don't be a self-made person. Do not be a rugged individual. I'm going to do it my way, do it my way. Money. Joint ventures, relationships, or JVs as I call them. Ventures where you combine your resources or your thoughts and your intellect and your relationship with other people. And this is the community that's happening. This is the revolution that's happening. The peer-to-peer revolution. It's happening. Every day the peer-to-peer thing is growing. And if you're not connected, you're disconnected. And if you're disconnected, you're on your own. And if you're on your own, you better be super smart or get inheritance money from somewhere, otherwise you're going to be poor. So get connected, so JVs. So you can take money from any place and create any other asset. You did well. You got all 7. Round of applause to you guys for that. So here they are. Now, there are only 7, but there's something to spot that's quite critical. Who can spot it? What's the difference between the assets that exist in 1, 2, 3 and those that exist in 4, 5, 6, 7? What do you see? What do you see, Chris? See what you see? Or the other side? Okay, so Chris says leverage on the left, which is true, because not always financial leverage, not always debt leverage, but you can certainly get leverage on that side. In other words, you can connect with other people's money to make those things happen. Anybody else got a thought? What about you, Chris? Long time to hear from you.
I was thinking about some other things then, actually.
Okay. What else do you see on the left?
Things are locked in on the right, so your money might be locked in.
Yeah. It could be locked in, yeah.
This is
On the left, it's very individual, and on the right, it's working with other people.
I like that. So you can kind of be the rugged individual on the left, and how smart you have to be to have a house, money, a pension, and a few quid in the bank. Not very. How much higher must your financial IQ be to be on the left-hand side? You must understand more. Your brain must be engaged more. You have to be smarter. You cannot stay on the left. The left is a place, on the right. The right is a place of mediocrity. Nothing happens there. What can you influence on the right? Can you influence anything? Yeah, well, your house grows, you can maybe you can put a kitchen on or an annex, but what can you do? You can't. What can you do about the pension and the stock market going up and down and sideways? Nothing. Nothing. And the sad thing is the vast majority of the people in the UK and the US are absolutely roller coastering their way to retirement on a stock market which will rise and fall and give them no certainty in life. You cannot get certainty there. You build 7, you become financially bulletproof. Yeah? We talked about that before the meeting. If interest rates go up, how do I feel? Mildly irritated? If the stock market crashes, Kate, how do I feel?
very upset.
I don't care.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I don't care. Because the stock market is not the place to build wealth. The stock market is a place to delegate, to trust somebody else. And God, you better hope they know more than you. I don't know anybody who can control the stock market. Warren Buffett doesn't control the stock market. He makes money on options. He insures people's money. That's where he makes the money. So nobody can control the stock market. So this is the place where you make connections. And this is the place where you create value and add value for yourself. This is where your brain has to be engaged. So please engage your brain and do something on the left. Do not stay in the right. Okay? That make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Now, every asset is a source of funding. It's a source of finance. So if you want to think about it, if you want a buy-to-let mortgage, Fabio, where'd you go? To the bank. So where does the bank get the money to lend you? Right. So they take the money of other people's that, and then you turn it into this. Then they take the security on the house, and they've got a secure asset, giving them high interest rate on the poor performing 1% they're getting from the saver. Yes?
Yes.
What does peer-to-peer do? Bypasses that completely. Absolutely right, Chris. You remove the need for the bank. So everything that is worthwhile can be funded by money that exists out there in other people's assets and in your assets. And if you've never thought about it, look at this. That's kind of what it said, right?
Yeah.
So, is anybody in this room into property? Okay, Kate, what type of property do you do? Buy-to-let. Any type of buy-to-let? Okay, flats and houses. So what kind of ROI will you be getting? 8%. Anybody else got anything more? HMO? What are you getting? 18% HMO. You should talk. Anybody else? 19, right, okay. So the point isn't a prize for who's got the highest return on investment. The point is the thinking that goes on here. So if people have got cash in the bank getting 1 and you're getting 19, why aren't you inundated with money? Why are people not pouring their money into your hands? Because if you can get 18 and I'm getting 1, surely there's a room for a deal. Surely. What would prevent that deal from happening?
Uncertainty.
Why isn't it happening? Where's the relationship? See, the key skill that's missing. I think all you property people are brilliant. You know how to manage 50% of the flow of work that needs to happen to create financial freedom from property. There are only 2 flows you have to manage. Deal flow, money flow. You all know how to get deals. If I said to you, I said to Chris earlier on, I was having a joke with him, and Remas, how long would it take you to get a deal if I gave you the money? How long did you say?
A few days.
Right. Chris, 24 hours. Remas, a few days, right? Okay. So if you can find the deals, why can't you find the money? Why can't you find the money? Because you haven't created the skill of peer-to-peer joint ventures and creating money from one to the other. So all life's wealth problems are solved on arbitrage, the difference between one thing and another. Everything in life is created that way. That's what the banks have made their money on. That's what everybody makes money on, and creating a value of one thing and getting a higher value from another. Think about it. Is there anything that doesn't work that way? If you buy a pub and convert it to flats, what have you done? You've created value from something that's performing at one level and make it perform at a high level. And you bank the profit. This is the same thing going on. So that's all you need to understand, really. There's a scope for win-win joint ventures everywhere, if you can see it. And that's one of the biggest skills that I have in connecting people when they don't see the connection for themselves. So one of my clients said to me, the work that we've done over 100 joint venture deals now, £40 million worth of property. The work you did in connecting 2 disparate groups, the pensioners who are frustrated getting terrible returns, disconnected from their money, and the property people getting great returns, disconnected from the flow of finance. That one piece of work alone, she said, was a stroke of genius. Now, I'm not claiming that, but it was pretty smart, and every side wins. So if that happens, say, what's the win for the property owner? He gets more property, right? What's the win for the pensioner? Better return on investment, a relationship, and maybe an educational transference of knowledge. Hang on a minute. Win, win, win. I'm not saying any negatives here. So those of you at property, you're already stars. You just need to make this connection with where the real money is at. There's so many billions in pensions not working that you could connect to if you knew a little bit more. You're not going to get all the answers, but at least maybe raise a few questions. Okay. So there you have all the 7. Who's getting a sense then of how many it takes to be completely financially free? How many pillars? I call them pillars, right? So the Wealth Builder logo, my badge, it's all about pillars, making it very solid. How many pillars do you think it takes to be completely financially free? It could take one, but every time you can answer the word one in your wealth building life, you've got a big danger. Okay? Unless you've really got that sorted. For most people, my experience is if you have your home equity pension investments, you're not going to make it. 100 grand in a pension will pay you about 5 grand a year if you use the traditional route. So you said 50 grand, you said 100 grand, right? So 100, how much do you need in a pension to have 100 grand a year income at a return of 5%? 2 million, right? So has anybody in this room got 2 million in their pension? Not going to happen, right? So, you've got to think about using whatever assets you've got in 1, 2, and 3 and turning them into probably 2 more. And there's 2 you could immediately focus on because you're coming to networking meetings or connection meetings like this. One is joint ventures and connect with other people. And 2 is start thinking about your own IP. There is value in what you know. It's just trying to get it out. Okay, I'm now going to escalate the level up a bit now, if you're ready for it. It's tougher. It's harder because wealth building is not singular. It's not mathematically arithmetic. It's geometric. The difference between that, obviously some people do, but the difference is the multiplier on the multiplier on the multiplier. So if I've shown you 7 ways to build wealth, I'm now going to show you the 7 ways, the 7 gears that you can take your wealth to an even higher level. Have we got the right audience for that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I could miss this slide out and just go to the basic one, which is the 7 things that anybody can do right now to create a very, very solid financial foundation. So if you did those things, you'd get wealthier, but you wouldn't know how to get the 100 grand a month or the 50 grand a month. So what do you want to know? The higher? You ready for the higher? You can do it. I'm not going to lose you now, Kate, am I?
No.
Okay. Right. I'm going to take you to the next one. Who can tell me the definition of ROI? Right. But what if I told you there were 7 ROIs? How many of those can you name? Not one. No, you haven't heard this, Karen, so now you can enjoy it. 7 ROIs, Kevin? No! There can't be 7. There can only be 1, right? I'm talking about mathematically, just propelling your wealth forward. And here's the thing, right? You have to do them in an order. Because if you try and take them out of order, what tends to happen is it's like trying to get rich quick. It don't happen. You have to get rich in an order and a sequence. So this is the right order and the right sequence to do it. Okay? That's what I believe anyway. It worked for me. So level 1 is the return on investment that we talked about, the 1% in the bank, the 5% in the stock market average on a pension, the 15% or the 19% in an HMO. And I call that intellectually level 1D, meaning you delegate that or you're doing that now. So if you're getting that now, the first step for you to understand where you are is to find out your current ROIs. In how many assets have you got? So work out how many have you got, how many have I got? 7. It'd be stupid not to have 7, right? How many have you got? Think about it. And then work out what's the ROI, because mathematically, if you want 100 grand a year, who would like 100 grand a year without having to work for it? Has anybody got a higher aspiration than that? Yeah, but 100 grand's a start, right? How you get 100 grand a year is you take 7 assets, work out the ROI on each one. That will tell you what the income that's going to flow from each one. Okay? So, if you've got a house worth, you said 400,000, and you're living in it, what's its ROI now to you putting money in your bank account? Nothing. Well, you could compute the downsides. So let's pretend we don't want to do that. So pick a number in a pension. Who's got a pension pot? Just shout a number out. How much in your pension pot? Just shout a number out, doesn't it? 50 grand, right. So if you work out your ROI is 5%, if you even know what it is, and you compute that to the date you want to be financially free, or even you couldn't be asked to do that, there's 100 grand now giving you 5%, means you've accumulated today 5 grand. So 5 out of 100. So pillar 1, nothing. Pillar 2, 5. How much has the person with 100 grand got in their pension, got in savings? 20 grand, probably. You're right. It's probably a 5-to-1 ratio, typically. So 20 grand in the bank getting 1% is how much? 200. Right? Not even 500. So we're on, let's call it 500. You know, they've gone to Wellesley and got 4%. You know, they've done something, right? Which is a peer-to-peer lending site for a bank. So they got 5.5. They want 100. Remember what I said to you about good news and bad news? I think some of you haven't woken up to the fact the gap between some of you high earners and where you're headed is huge. So where's your money going to come from? If you haven't got a property portfolio, or if you have, if you're getting an 8% ROI, you work out the numbers, what happens if interest rates double? You need stress testing. So what if you're getting net 1,000? Okay, so that's 12. So you're now on what? You know, 17.5? Geez, you're not going to make it. Honestly, you're not going to make it unless you elevate your financial IQ. Okay? So this is level 1. And we're going to go 3 levels up, like a spiral. See, in order for your wealth to be smarter, you have to be smarter. The box that controls the plan needs to be switched on. And sometimes most computer programmers will say, what do you need to do when your computer's gone a bit haywire? Reboot the PC. So that computer that sits on your shoulders, please press reset and get a return on your intellect. Now, how you get a return on your intellect is you work out where you are and say, I'm not going to make it. What is a higher ROI you could get? And then work out what that higher ROI is. So if you're getting 5 in the pension or 8 in your buy-to-let, I'm not picking on you at all, but if you wanted to get higher than 8, what do you have to do to get higher than 8? What do you have to do? Learn how. So you go and talk to, what's your name, sir? Mr. 19%?
No.
Sorry?
No.
Right. You go and I can hear it. So you talk to him, or you talk to somebody and say, not where I am, remember this, don't resist your ideas. I would love to get 18% on my property. How do I do that? And you learn. Once you've learned, what have you learned? What's possible. Cool. So you learn what's possible. Right. Now, you interact. And rather than just, see, here's an interesting point. If the secret of health, wealth, and happiness were all simply things you could write in a book and publish, we'd all be fabulously wealthy, fabulously healthy, and ecstatic. but we're not. It's in the doing. It's in the interacting. So you meet with him and you say, what's the difference between renting out this property for a single family and buying a 3-bed house, turning it into a 5-bed multi-let and renting it out to a multi-let? And you go there and you open the door, he walks you through, and you go and see it, and have a look and see. So what did it look like before? Well, it looked like that. We did that. We created that communal area. They had a garage, and we knocked the garage out. Okay. Now where have you gone? Help me out, guys. Where have you gone from the art of what's possible to proof?
Proof, yeah.
It's proof it can be done. And then you look at it and go, well, he's not that smart. He bragged a bit, but he's not that smart. I could do that too. And with an interaction, an agreement, he could provide you with all the contacts, all the builders, all the steps. Yeah. And that's return on interaction. Now, I believe these need to be done in an ordinary sequence if you're trying to get to a higher level. You do it this way, you will not fail. If you try and shortcut it, don't go on a course, don't connect with anyone, try and learn everything on your own by trial and error, you'll go off on cul-de-sacs, you'll make more mistakes. You don't need to do it, there's enough friendly faces out there in property who will help you for free. Higher level now. Return on investment E means no longer do you delegate to your previous level of knowledge. You are now empowered. You are now able to do something you couldn't do before because you were frustrated where you were, you learned what the higher ROI was, you got an education on that, you read something, you talked to someone, you went to see them, you learned all about it, and then to make it really happen, you either took your pension and loaned it to them, or took some cash to loan it to them, and put some currency in the game, or you learned enough, and then you did it. So you took the money that was stuck in your home equity, next to nothing, and you turned it into an HMO. Or you took the money in somebody else's pension at 5 and turned it into an HMO. Or you took some money from your grandma's bank account, who was getting 1% and frustrated, and you put it on an HMO, giving her full security on the property. Whatever you want to do, how you want to create it, this is how to do it. Go to a higher level by being connected and then do it. So you can turn money in 1, 2, and 3 into 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that's the skill. Take money that was underperforming and move it. Right. Level up. Wow, how far can we go with this? Jeez. Return on investor. So we've now worked out, we've done this, we've got how many HMOs now to be an expert? Probably 3? Yeah, 3?
Yeah.
So you've got 3. You now are able to attract other people. You've got a track record. You become a star, which is T. So you've got a story now, you've got a track record. You create a marketing material around your track record. You've written a book. The 6 things you need to do before you invest with anybody. Whatever it is, you've created that. And then people come to you. You've got a marketing process for people coming to you. And they invest with you. And then they invest again with you. And then somebody else invests with you. And this is what happens with our property clients. They get investment after investment after investment after investment. And in pensions in particular, if I'm 40, which I'm not, but if I was, and I loaned you some money, Kate, from my pension, and you gave me 8%, I was getting 5 and I was pissed off, and you teach me stuff, and I'll lend you that money, and you give me 8 and you deliver on your part, and I get a great relationship, and you look like the sort of person I could have a great relationship with, what am I likely to do when that loan comes to an end? Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And that's what happens. And then you get so good at that, you write the book now. And you teach this bloody stuff. Because what gives you the right to teach is just knowing a little bit more than somebody who knows not a lot. So I can see how the Jerry stuff is so well connected with what I teach. So in some respects, it's much better here, but if you want to go ahead and write something now, go for it. But it's great there when you've got that. So who knows, think of anybody who's used IP to create wealth. No, I don't mean like huge royalties, but just created a business around what they've done and they teach it. Anybody can think of anybody who's done that?
Simon?
Simon Zutzi, who knows Simon Zutzi?
Yeah.
Okay, so I work with Simon, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, but so he's just done that, right? So he's creating IP and sells mastermind courses at 17,000 or whatever it is a year. So he's creating IP from that, and hundreds of other people have done that. Brad Sugars did that with Action Coach. So many businesses are created by starting off with IP. I've created that with WealthBuilders. So it's just easy ways to do it, but you have to. What I'm trying to give you is an imagination of the journey you're on, not I need to do this buy-to-let. If you see the journey, you won't stop, because you know if you follow the steps, it is inexorable, meaning it will happen. It cannot not happen, except if you stop and get off the bridge. That's the only thing that will stop you, is you. Nothing else can stop you, because this stuff is easy to follow. And the final one, just for you, is the purpose. It means if you've created all this IP, you haven't just passed on money to your kids. You passed on money, wisdom, a system, a process, intelligence, connections, systems written down in books, books they can copy. You can get your kids. My daughter's coming to one of my presentations next week for the first time. Dad, I've got to go now. I've decided the time's right. She wants to see me deliver what I do. Now she's going to start getting involved in this, and it takes time. But ultimately, that's what it's all about. It's what's your purpose. So you can leave a great inheritance if you follow all these steps. So 7 ROIs now. See how I created each one of them as an ROI? Just to make you feel, that's quite smart. But there are 7, and if you can create an 8th one for me, I'd be thrilled, but I like the number 7. Okay. Have we got time for the basics?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Right, so if you want to, if you just like, oh, this is all too, only you can do that, it's not for you. By the way, who's thinking you could do this? Anybody thinks they can't do it? Anyone at all thinks they can't? Fantastic. Everyone's empowered. Brilliant. To get yourself going, to feel like there's a little bit of a kickstart in your life. Step 1. Anybody can do this without having to get financially smart, by the way. This is like GCSE material. Yeah? For anybody who's a starter in building wealth, these 7 things, if you do them, you'll create something in your wealth. You won't escalate it, but just do these things in the next 30 days, and you'll find yourself getting wealthier automatically. What do I think I mean by know yourself? What do you think I mean by that? Know about your skills and experience? Sure, you kind of know that. What I mean is, set your objective. Begin with the end in mind. If it's 100 grand, why? I see people all the time who say, oh, I can't even imagine retirement and what the number is. Okay, you're not going to be wealthy. Why 100 grand? What will that life give you? Why that figure? Get clear on the reason why. Without a reason why, nothing else happens. Without a reason why, you give up. Second part of knowing yourself, know your habits. Know how you spend your money. Do you naturally just buy stuff, on credit? Do you buy stuff? Do you accumulate stuff, or are you building assets? Just get to know yourself and what your spending habits are, and take stock of your current ROIs. Look and find out what they are. Do your own little mental mathematics around that. You should get a shock. Any foundation you create has to be watertight. that's the reason why they put the membrane in the bottom. You have to eliminate leaks. And the leaks that are going out of your life are all over the place. So start to look at what you're doing that you can eliminate. That's in your life now. So look at your spending. The way I do it, the basic stuff, GCSE stuff, is just get all your bank statements out, highlight stuff, and go, do I need that, do I need that? Recurring, what I mean by that is recurring leaks. Stuff that happens recurring, time and time and time again. Is there something you could do to save something in that area? And if you can do that, eliminate it, and then earmark that money for a purpose. There's so many websites out there which say save money. But save money with a purpose. There's a reason to save it, and it's to do something with it, not just to save the money. And there's so many comparison sites you could knock yourself dead out on those. Debt's a double-edged sword. It's leverage, but it cuts the other way too. You know, if you've got debt in your life, there's a plan. I think you're giving them a copy of the book that talks about that right tonight.
Yeah.
So
at the end.
in the first book I wrote called Save a Fortune Fast, How to Eliminate Your Mortgage, I paid off a 200 grand mortgage in 7 years flat, and now I know how to do it. You could do it in a fraction of that time, because you can put science and compound interest to work. Just save something, pay off. Save something, pay off. If you've got credit cards, just admit to it. There's a process in the book. I think it's secret number 4 in the book. You could just eliminate them one by one. Okay? So, and you see if you got rid of your debt, any money you were spending on debt, put somewhere else. I'll show you where to put them in a minute. I said to you, you can't create wealth from the job you have, except for one exceptional item, or maybe 2. The easy one is just look at what your tax position is. If you've got an accountant, or talk to someone, because pretty much if I meet anybody, they're paying more tax than they should be. There's ways to eliminate what you're paying in tax. Whether you're paying higher rate tax on your savings, you should have an ISO. There's all sorts of different things you could do to eliminate your tax bill. Or could you go to your boss and say, if I create this plan that saves the company 100,000, can I have 10% of that? Or something to be a sort of an entrepreneur inside your company. If you could do that, that would be great. If not, find a way with your spare time to do something that generates additional revenue, whatever that would be. Because what is anybody doing in spare time to generate revenue now? Anybody doing anything?
Multi-vetting.
Say again? Forex trading, okay, that's fine.
Building an Amazon business.
Amazon business, eBay, all sorts of different things like that, that can give you. Some people go to property things and sell property magazines. There's a whole bunch of things you could do with your time, your hobbies, things that you're interested in that could make some extra money. But when you make the money, we then have to create a purpose for that if you're trying to get from basic steps up to create wealth. The next thing is you begin to start seeing that you're coming out of the leaks and you're protecting yourself from debt, is just take stock and protect what you value. So if you really value it, insure it. That's the simple way to make sure you don't lose anything. And so how many people insure their iPhone? Nuts. Completely nuts. Because the money you pay for your iPhone, if you reinvested that and did something to build your wealth, because your wealth is more important to you than your iPhone. How many of you got life cover that you don't need anymore, or you were a smoker and now you're not a smoker? There's a whole, or you might have insurance twice, you travel insurance on your credit card and travel insurance somewhere else. Look at what you're paying out in insurance. You're probably way over the odds on insurance. But protect what's valuable until you build your wealth up. That's the simple answer on the insurance side. And then once you start creating the ideas of where you're saving a bit, you're making a bit, I call it isolate and automate. Put something to work automatically. Create what I call pots, wealth pots. First pot is never let a month go by without building some wealth, even if it's in the stock market. Just stick money into a regular ISA, stick money back into your pension, because now pensions are so flexible, you can get access to all of this money in property too. There's so many things you can do. This is too basic for you guys, right? I'm not seeing too much recognition around here. If you automate it, you know every month you're getting a little bit wealthier than you were the month before. That's the key point. And put a little bit towards your education. Why? So do spend some money on your education. Go somewhere to get an education, because that's where the real wealth will come from. This won't do very much, but at least it means every month you're building something. You're not feeling like you're got more months left at the end of your money. You're doing something each month. And this is basic stuff, but it's useful if you've not heard it before. And then finally decide which pillars you're going to create and start investing in the education to create those. Whether it's property, whether it's joint ventures, whether it's adding a new business to what you're doing, whatever it is, you'll find a way to just invest some time to create the new pillars. So you've got 7 pillars, 7 ROIs, 7 very basic things you could teach anybody to do. Probably you could even, everything that's written about financial stuff, by the way, out there in the world is just on those things. So you could, if you wanted to, write a book. The 7 key things you must do if you want to start on your wealth journey but you haven't got any money yet. It doesn't have to be your ideas, you could just write it. Right? So it's, you can use his ideas, the guy before, and be a reporter and see some of these ideas out there. Listen, I know we're really pushed now. It's been a long evening. I hope you've got some value. Maybe I should save this for the beginning and do it the other way around. But has anybody got any questions that just burning to get out there, or either what assets to build, what the difference in ROIs, anything that you just want to ask? Because you're only really going to meet me tonight, because I don't have anything to offer you. So if you want to know more about what we do, just connect with Chris. For those of you who think you're a star, I'll just quickly do that. Yes, just ask Chris. The slides will all be there for you. You can have whatever you want. Okay? Just ask Chris and he'll get them to you. So this is what I look for. I'm looking to make I can't help everyone, but I will make a personal investment in a connection with those of you who are stars. You have a good story, or you can create one. You have some kind of a track record. You have got an unwavering ambition. You really want to do it. You're not just making this up. You're serious. You love relationships and you love connecting, and you want to share with other people as you get successful, and become part of what is a real community. And I'm delighted Chris is part of that community. I'm the founder of the community, and it's by invitation only. So we don't charge anybody anything to talk. We just want to know if you're the right material that will get this wealth building message out there in a more organised way. So that's stars anyway. And I'll give you my LinkedIn address for those of you who want to connect with me. Mm-hmm. So you get the book. I've written a new book, by the way, which is the 7 pillars. Just in an e-book format, so that you can read that if you want to, so you get a little bit more. And that's my LinkedIn profile. I was very impressed with Karen, by the way, so it's the lady in the middle. I met her at a property event recently, and I said to people, I always say this, do not connect with me unless you've got a photograph, because I won't remember you. And she sent me a LinkedIn, very nice photograph actually, but she said, I've got a professional one done now because you told me to get a better one. So she did, and that's fantastic. So LinkedIn is the way to go if you're looking to build connections in the future, as well as Facebook and other places, but this is where I am anyway. So any questions before I close for the day? And if there's a glass of red up there waiting with my name on it, I'd absolutely love it. Any questions, and then I'm going to be done.
Do you run workshops and courses?
Do we run workshops? We will if there's a demand, and I'll run them with Chris. We don't, because at the moment we teach property people and business people. So our specialty is people who've got pensions that just frustrated with them. So if there's anybody in the room with a pension that's locked up and you're frustrated, definitely connect with me, because I can really empower that for you. If you're a property expert with 3 or more properties, must connect with me. I'll show you how to get all the property you ever want, all the money for that anyway. And if you're in business and you have a business and you want to know how to get access to more cash to make your business go, connect with me. If you're at the beginning of your journey, this is what I want to work on with Chris, to create the workshop that fits to take your knowledge up to the next
So
level.
if you have a business and set up and
I can't hear you, I'm really
if you
sorry.
have a business and you find properties on and have access to properties and things like that, is that something that you're interested in?
I'm going to have to catch up with you because, as I say, I'm not feeling great and my ears are not working, so I can hardly hear the questions at the back. So maybe it's just time for me not to take the questions and say thank you very much for your attention. I enjoyed talking to you.
That's fantastic. That was some heavyweight stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really, I think, what we're all interested in. You know, how do we set foundations to make big money? And you know, it's great that we are all looking at property ideas, trading, business, all these things. But if we don't have the foundations, it's not going to happen, is it? So that's excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate that. As promised, a copy of Kevin's book. They're all sitting by the door, so on your way out, please feel free to grab one copy, because otherwise we'll run out and that won't be on the other door. Kevin's new book, I will send out to you all. As I say, if you haven't connected with the Facebook group, message me on meetup and we'll get you in there, because that's where everything happens. I can share all that with you. Jerry's Millionaire Mindset book, I will share in there as well. If there's any forms from Jerry earlier on that you didn't manage to hand in, just hand them to me, I'll pass them on for you. And I don't think there's much else to say, but one person I'd like to thank, and that's Pfizer at the back, because I hope you'll all agree this venue is fantastic, isn't it? Yeah? It's absolutely amazing. A small token of my appreciation for you is to you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I know we've overrun, sorry about that, but there was loads of content and I hope that you all feel it's been a really worthwhile evening. Connect with me, you know, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Meetup, talk to me if you have ideas, businesses, let's chat about that stuff. If you want to connect with Kevin, you can speak to me about that. There is a pub right over the road. It's got a red front. It doesn't look that great. It's called the Old Theatre or something. If any of you want to network and just have a quick drink, maybe that's the place to go, yeah? Because it's literally out the front door, over the road. If you need to go home, no problem. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Just let you know quickly, next month, Benjamin's not here, another member, he's offered to speak to us about NLP. He's a master practitioner and he's going to share with you a little presentation about NLP, which I'm really interested in. So that's going to be next month and probably some more tricks as well. So I'll keep you updated.